My name is Malene Pierce. I'm 30 years old. And if you think betrayal only happens in dramatic movies, wait until it arrives at your front door, wearing your family's smile. It started just after lunch. I was at my desk finishing paperwork when my phone rang. "Malene," my neighbor said, her voice uneasy. "Did you hire movers?" I frowned. "No. Why?" "There's a truck outside your house, and your parents are carrying boxes inside." For a moment, I couldn't breathe. Then I grabbed my keys and ran. The drive home felt endless. Every red light was torture. Every mile made the fear worse. When I finally turned into my street, my stomach dropped. A moving truck sat in my driveway. My sister's car was parked at the curb, and through my open front door, I saw strangers carrying boxes across the hardwood floors I had worked years to afford. I didn't think. I ran inside. My mother stood in the kitchen directing people like she owned the place. My father was hauling furniture upstairs, and my sister stood in the living room beside her husband, pointing at rooms as if she were choosing paint colors. "What is going on?" I shouted. Everyone froze. For 1 second, guilt crossed my mother's face. Then it disappeared. "Sweetheart," she said calmly, "your sister's family needs space. You don't need this whole house to yourself." I stared at her. "This is my house." Dad stepped down the stairs. "Don't be selfish," he said. "Family shares." Shares. The word hit me like ice. They weren't sharing. They were taking. I looked around at the boxes stacked in my living room. My sister's name was written across them in black marker. This wasn't confusion. This was a plan. "Get everything out," I said. "Now." Mom waved her hand like I was being dramatic. "You'll adjust." "Adjust?" I said. "To strangers in my kitchen? To losing rooms in my own home?" Dad crossed his arms. "We use the spare key." I laughed once, coldly. A spare key is for emergencies, not for moving people into someone else's property. Then my sister finally spoke. "You don't even appreciate what you have," she said. "You're single, no kids. Why shouldn't someone who needs this house live here?" There it was. Not gratitude, not shame, entitlement. The movers stood awkwardly by the door. I turned to them. "Stop unloading, this is not authorized." One of them hesitated. "Ma'am, your mother hired us." "She's not the owner," I said. "I am." That was enough. They slowly set the boxes down and headed back outside. My sister's husband muttered under his breath, but I ignored him. Then I did the smartest thing I could have done. I pulled out my phone and started recording the boxes, the truck, my parents, my sister, proof. "Malene, turn that off," Mom snapped. "No," I said. "This is no longer family business. This is legal business." My sister lunged for the phone. I stepped back. "You don't need me to make you look bad," I said. "You're doing that yourselves." Dad raised his voice. "You are not humiliating this family over a misunderstanding." I almost laughed. "You entered my home without permission. You hired movers. You tried to move me out of my own life." I looked at him. "How exactly is that a misunderstanding?" No one answered. And then my sister folded her arms. "You're seriously kicking us out?" I met her eyes. "What exactly do you think I owe you?" Silence. Years of dismissing me. Years of expecting me to stay quiet. Years of treating my boundaries like suggestions. And suddenly, they had no words. I walked to the front door, turned the lock, then faced them all. "You are not welcome here anymore," Mom gasped. "We're your parents." I held up my phone. "This footage goes to my lawyer tonight. And if anyone enters this house again without permission, the authorities will know." Dad glared. "You wouldn't do that to family." I held his stare. "Try me." And for the first time in my life, they backed down. Slowly, angrily, they carried the boxes outside. One by one. No one apologized. No one admitted fault. But they left. And when the door finally shut behind them, the click of the lock sounded like freedom. The house was quiet again, but I wasn't shaking anymore. I walked room to room, looking at the boxes they had almost unpacked, not with rage, with clarity. That night, I sent everything to my lawyer, the footage, the photos, the timeline. The next morning, I posted one image online, boxes stacked outside my front door. Caption, "When family forgets boundaries," that was all. And the reaction was immediate. Messages poured in, friends, co-workers, relatives I hadn't heard from in years. Some were shocked, some were supportive, some shared their own stories of betrayal. But one thing became clear: the perfect family image my parents had polished for years was cracking. By noon, my phone was full of calls. Mom, Dad, my sister. Then a text from Dad, "Take the post down. You're humiliating us." I stared at the screen. For years, I had been the one dismissed, overlooked, and blamed. Now they were uncomfortable because the truth was visible. I didn't remove the post. I pinned it. By the end of the week, the pressure reached them. People asked questions. Whispers spread. The image they protected mattered more to them than the pain they caused. And that told me everything. Meanwhile, I sat on my back deck with a cup of coffee, watching the lake shimmer in the morning light. For the first time in years, peace didn't feel temporary. It felt earned. Then came one final message. My mother's voice was tired. "Please, we've lost respect. Just take it down." I listened, then deleted the voicemail. Because by then, this wasn't about revenge. It was about balance. For years, they tried to make me feel small, replaceable, disposable. But some lessons only arrive when boundaries are finally enforced. That night, I locked the door, poured a glass of wine, and looked around the home I built for myself. Not just a house, proof. Proof that I was never the problem. Proof that I never needed their permission to matter. And proof that once some doors close, they should stay closed. What would you have done in my position? Would you forgive them or never let them back in? Tell me in the comments. And if you enjoy stories about boundaries, justice, and personal strength, don't forget to like, subscribe, and join us for the next one.